Despite the thousands of artifacts archaeologists find every year, our planet still holds many more secrets. Sometimes researchers stumble upon something they've been looking for a long time, and sometimes they find something by accident. In England, you can stumble upon an unusual grave, and France can answer questions about ancient art. This is Infinity, and in this episode, you'll find out how archaeologists discovered something no one was supposed to see. Viking Grave. In 2009, a pit with strange remains was discovered on the south coast of England. It happened during an archaeological study that was conducted before the construction of the freeway near the town of Weymouth. Probably no one should have seen this, but circumstances were different. 51 bodies were found in the mass grave. All of the dead have been decapitated, and their heads have been buried separately but in the same pit. Usually, the archaeologists found no traces of clothing. This indicated that the people had been buried naked. Excavation manager David Score noted that the remains belonged to young men. They were sturdy and very strong, classic warriors in appearance. Most of the remains show evidence of sword or axe blows to the necks, heads, and jaws. The age of the find was determined by radiocarbon dating. The warriors were buried between 950 and 1025 AD. Scientists have suggested that the remains found belonged to the Vikings, and not their enemies, the Anglo-Saxons. The reasoning is that the remains were buried. The Vikings would have left their victims at the site of the battle. But in this case, we're talking about the executed prisoners, which means that the decision to bury them was made by their opponents. In February 2018, something else related to the Vikings was found. It was found in the southeast of Norway, in a place called Hylestad. The find was of considerable size. It was a ship burial from the Viking period. It was named the Ship of Hylestad, after the discovery site. Parts of the ship were found accidentally on agricultural land thanks to GPR imaging. With the help of radar, archaeologists found out that the ship was almost 20 meters long, 5 meters wide, and was located at a depth of 50 centimeters. Archaeologists suggested that the Drakkar, as today the wooden Viking ship is called, was built around 750 to 850 AD. Archaeologists immediately noted that the discovered ship was not used as a transport. The Drakkar was part of a cemetery and served as a symbol for the glory of the Vikings buried around it. Preliminary excavations have shown that under the layer of soil, the ship deteriorated rather quickly. Thus, the faster it will be extracted from the ground, the better. Already in 2020, scientists began excavating the funeral ship. In December 2021, Norwegian archaeologists reported that the excavations have been completed. In total, scientists had about 8,000 fragments at their disposal. In addition to the remains of the boat, archaeologists found pieces of iron and copper, jewelry, the remains of 2 axes, cremated human bones, a large number of animal remains, and 1,300 ship nails, which will allow learning the construction of the boat. The most notable find was a large amber bead, the hole in which suggests that it was attached to clothing or to an important symbolic object, perhaps a sword or a scabbard. Archaeologists managed to find not only the Viking artifacts, but also other objects that no one was supposed to see. Stay tuned to learn how the Vampire of Venice was discovered and to see an interesting bowl that still puzzles scientists. Vampire of Venice. Do vampires exist? Did they exist before? One of the archaeological finds, or rather its name, suggests such a thought. So we already know what quarantine and lockdown mean. In medieval Europe, where the plague epidemic was raging, people also wanted to be protected from the disease. For example, the Venetians organized an isolated area on the island of Lazaretto Vecchio. It served as a quarantine zone and a hospital for the infected. When the territory of the island became insufficient, the Venetian authorities adapted another island, Lazaretto Nuovo, for the same purpose. Too many people died of the disease and were buried in mass graves. The oldest graves were long rectangular trenches in which the bodies were laid in succession. The later graves had no such feature. The bodies were haphazardly piled there from carts. In 2006 to 2007, archaeological excavations at Lazaretto Nuovo were carried out on mass graves. It was there that archaeologists found something mysterious. There was a brick in the jaw of one of the skulls. According to written sources at that time, it was a way to bury vampires. Not a wooden stake, but a brick in the mouth should have disarmed the bloodsucker. According to the beliefs, the vampire literally chewed his way out of the grave, so it was believed that this way he would not be able to free his way. Examination of the skull revealed that the skull belonged to a woman who was between the ages of 61 and 71 years old at the time of death. She was European and no different from the natives of Venice. Fuente Magna. Welcome to Lake Titicaca, which is located in the western part of South America on the border of the two countries Bolivia and Peru. But I won't talk about the lake, but about an interesting artifact found in 1957 by a local farmer near the lake. As he was not a professional archaeologist or historian, a large ceramic vessel with texts and drawings didn't impress him very much at the time, and he used it for household needs. Such an unusual bowl of convenient size could continue to serve as utensils for feeding pets if in 1960 the Bolivian archaeologist Max Portugal Samora hadn't noticed it. He bought it, and it was given the name Fuente Magna, or the Fuente Bowl. Its diameter, by the way, is about 1 meter. The ceramic bowl is covered inside and outside with various drawings and text in 2 languages resembling cuneiform. The researchers' attempt to read something were unsuccessful, and the bowl was transferred to the municipality to the Museum of Precious Metals in La Paz. But there the find was considered to be a fake, and it was sent to the warehouse where it lay almost 40 years. In the early 2000s, it came to the attention of Bolivian researchers Bernardo Biadis Yacovazzo and Freddy Arca. They suggested that one of the texts of Fuente Magna was close to the Sumerian cuneiform. The second text, they suggested, could have been written in a Semitic language. As the story went on, the Bolivian researchers called on the ancient cuneiform scholar Dr. Clyde Winters to attempt to read the texts. He succeeded. As it turned out, the text mentions the Sumerian goddess Nia. According to Winters, the bowl itself is most likely a cult vessel. However, it's remained unknown how exactly a ceramic vessel with traces of the Sumerian civilization of the Middle East ended up in South America. Grotto de Lascaux is a unique monument of primitive art, which for thousands of years has preserved the evidence that in ancient times, people also knew how to make art. Grotto de Lascaux is located in present-day France near the small village of Montagnac. Perhaps no one was destined to see the unique drawings if it weren't for one event. The cave was found in September 1940 by 4 teenagers from a nearby settlement. It could have remained hidden beneath the surface of the earth, but one day, during a thunderstorm, a pine tree fell from a lightning strike. It opened a small passage inside to the curious guys. The length of Lascaux Cave is 250 meters, and its area is 1,500 square meters. On the vaults of the cave, there were found almost 2,000 unique rock paintings made with amazing realism. They can even be divided into 3 categories: people, symbols, and animals, including horses, bison, deer, and many others. It's noteworthy that in Lascaux Cave there is not a single image of a plant or any landscape, but all the animals are drawn in motion, in color, and with high accuracy. Many images are so well preserved that it's difficult to believe in their age. They're estimated 15 to 18,000 years old. In addition to rock carvings, archaeologists have found here products made of bones, stones, and shells, jewelry, tools, household items, weapons, utensils, and much more. Otzi. 30 years ago, a group of tourists discovered in the Alps a unique mummy of a frozen man dubbed the Iceman, or Otzi. Radiocarbon analysis showed that the mummy was about 5,300 years old. Otzi was about 45 to 46 years old, which was an advanced age for the era. He weighed only 50 kilograms and was 165 centimeters tall. Further research helped identify tattoos on his body. A special investigation, which began in 2001, was able to determine that Otzi was killed by a shot from an arrow and that he didn't expect the attack. The arrow was aimed at his left shoulder. The wounded man couldn't draw it out. The tip of the arrow went so deep into Otzi's back that it hit his spine. That was the cause of the sad outcome. That's all, guys. Which find surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you later.